going
Uh,
live. God,
I
that's
forgot.
we're in a fight now. We're in a fight now.
Oh, darn it. Well, welcome everyone to the Unready room. Brandi and I are fighting because I'm not supposed to tell her when we go live. I'm supposed to surprise her, but I did tell her. So I'm just ruining the brand. We're not the Unready room. If I say get ready, we're going live. So yeah, I don't know what I was thinking.
That's why we're in a
Well, I'm
fight.
Dan. Yeah, absolutely. I'm Dan Gunther. This is Brandi Jackola. We're not really in a fight, I don't think.
No, not at all.
How's it going?
It's great. I can never be mad at you, Dan, for heaven's sake.
Challenge accept. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh, you heard it here, folks.
No, I wouldn't want to make Brandi angry.
No,
I wouldn't
you
like
wouldn't.
her when she's angry. Probably
Mm-mm.
not. Hey everyone, welcome to everyone live with us in the chat and those of us who will be watching later. Really do appreciate each and every one of you. We're the Unready room, clearly, and we're here to talk about this week's episode of Lower Decks. And I've gotten a few pronunciations from a few people. I'm a huge Star Trek fan. I'm a big Star Trek fan, but I've never learned Klingon. I've never quite
I haven't either.
gotten beyond the the kaplas and the nuknes and all that. Beyond that, I'm like, I have no idea. My best guess, based on everything I've heard, my pronunciation is wej Duj. That's what I got.
Yep.
Brandi, did you want to give it a try?
Nope.
All right.
Not touching it.
Well, yeah. Well, let's start with the title. So, the title of this week's episode, wej Duj, best guess, but means three ships, which is fitting based on what happens in the episode. And the nicest surprise, first of all, right off the bat, we don't get a teaser before the credits. We just go right into the credits and then to the title card. And the title's not just like written in English, but Klingon, but it's like Klingon characters, which that's a first for Star Trek, and that was pretty cool.
It was pretty cool. Just this whole episode was pretty cool. Oh, wait, giving away the store before I even get into the discussion. Sorry. I liked it, sort of.
Oh, there's
No,
some.
I totally loved it.
Oh, okay. I was like, oh, there's going to be some interesting discussion here.
Nope,
there's still going to be some interesting discussion, just for the record.
Yeah, but it's just going to be mutually mutual. Let's try that again. Mutual agreement a lot of the time. So yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cards on the table. It's now been a full day since I've seen it. I've sat with it. You'll hear my initial thoughts. Bruce and I recorded the upcoming episode about this episode for Positively Trek yesterday, so you got our really fresh takes on it. And I was wondering in that if my love of this episode was just that new episode energy thing where you just come off it and you're like, oh, that's the best episode. It's been a day. I think it's still my favorite episode of Lower Decks so far. Unseating. Yep. Crisis Point was my high bar for Lower Decks. I think this one's edged it out somehow. I didn't think it possible.
Agreed. And it's the penultimate episode in both cases.
That's true. That's right.
They're pulling it. Praise to the whole team of creators and voice actors and animators and everything at Lower Decks, because they just do what I feel like is the impossible. They just keep bringing it every single time. And this one, I watched it when I had the screener, which was about a week and a half ago-ish. And then I was still really excited to rewatch it and loved it even more because it had subtitles. So I got things that I didn't catch the first time. It's just so good.
Yeah.
I'm doing this again. I was telling Dan. I know. Yeah. I'll just tell everybody. I'm not afraid of it. I was telling Dan that earlier today I've been having it's been a weird week for me, and my emotions have been all over the place more than usual. And on the way to work, I remembered, oh, that Lower Deck soundtrack came out today. And because I was driving, but my phone is hooked up to the stereo system, I told Siri to play it. And so it started, and I cranked it up so I could really hear all of the flourishes in that main theme. And it starts, and I'm just like, it's so beautiful. And I'm like, keep your eyes open, stupid, you're driving.
I love it. I mean, the music is incredible in Lower Decks. Like, it's right up there. Like, they're not pulling any punches with, comparing this to other series, the more serious series or however, whatever. Like, this is terrific. This is great Star Trek, and I'm loving the heck out of this. And this episode might be the most Star Trek, whatever that means. Like, if you can quantify that as something, like, this feels like this is great Star Trek, Does that make sense? I don't know.
No, it does make sense. It does make sense. And it's just, there are so many things that I want to say, and they're all jumbled up in my mind, and I want to spit them out all at once, but then they wouldn't make sense, and I can't say words at the same time as myself anyway. So let's get into it.
Yeah, let's
Because
do that.
we talked about just the title card, and let's get it. Let's get it. Let's go for it. I want to talk about this baby.
Absolutely. So yeah, it's called Three Ships, and I've been seeing the We Three Ships parodies going in the comments there. Thank you for that. That's fun. But the first ship in question, of course, is the Cerritos and our lower deckers, and the stories that they're following. We've got Boimler is feeling left out because the other three all have their like senior officer hangout day going on. Mariners doing stuff with the captain. Rutherford's with Billups and Shax, and Tendi is with Ta'ana on the holodeck, which I want to talk about that especially because that's my favorite bit. But I guess let's start with Mariner and the captain and Captain Freeman, because they of course are mother and daughter. That's an interesting relationship, and I feel like in a season where the character growth for Mariner has been, outside of the early couple episodes, I feel has kind of been stalling a little bit, just a little bit. I feel like she gets a nice little bit in this episode with how that whole thing with the captain wraps up, because, they're getting on each other's nerves, it's getting on Mariner's nerves. But then we get that really sweet bit at the end where the captain says, Beckett, I've really enjoyed hanging out with you. This has been really good time. And Mariner's got that like perma scowl on her face, and it cracks. And she says, "You know what? Me too." And just like, "Aw, I love that."
Yes, I want. Please tell me that they're going to make the Ritos shirt, please.
Oh, but they have to. They have to.
They have to now.
Yes.
They showed that. Now they have to make it. Where is the Cerritos merchandise? Come on.
Yeah, we need that. And I also say, because this may now be my preferred cosplay to do someday, just the sweatshirt with "Go Climb a Rock" on it. You don't have to have the bomber jacket that Kirk had now if you want to do that cosplay. You can just have the sweatshirt. So sweatshirt and purple hair, and there we go. I'm good. Maybe some rocket boots somehow.
Well, just make some boots that look like rocket boots. They don't have to actually work.
Yeah, I've got enough old pairs of ski boots that might be kind of annoying to walk
go.
around a convention all day in, but
But hey, for the cosplay, man, for the cosplay.
Oh, for sure. Somebody mentioned it. Oh yeah, Patrick, with the game of Velocity that they're playing. That was fun to see. From the season 4 Voyager episode Hope and Fear. That was a nice little callback to that. Janeway and Seven of Nine play that game on the holodeck. So that was fun.
Yes.
Anything else we want to talk about with regards to Mariner and Captain Freeman?
Nope.
Oh, I'm worried.
Oh no. What? What? Who? What? What? Did I miss something? What?
I was just worried I was freezing. Was I?
No, you're fine. You're totally
okay,
fine.
cool. All right. Doing a weird little mime thing. People are like, what?
Yeah, no, you're totally good. You're totally good.
Okay.
Yeah, no, I did like the Mariner and Freeman stuff. I like that they weren't the focus of it though, and that the part we get to see is Boimler's just trying to get out. He's trying to get out. He's hitting that button so fast, and the door's not opening. The door's not opening. The door's not opening, and he's so uncomfortable. And I'm like, oh my god, that's me. That would be me.
That was so great. And I honestly have to admit I missed a lot of the dialogue that was going on because Nikki and I were just laughing so hard at
So
Boimler
funny.
just trying to get out of there. I thought that was excellent. So
Yes.
we've also got Rutherford, and the part we see is him throwing pottery with Shax, which I thought was great. That's lovely, and Boimler trying to kind of get in with them. And in the unfortunate mention of his past on Bajor, which is a no topic around Shax, apparently.
Well, it's possible that, his family, because, they had a caste system, and it's more than plausible that he was of the I don't know what I wanted to call it. I know it had a different name, but basically his family probably made pottery. So that, because that's what Kira's family did.
Mm-hmm.
So that was her
Yeah.
family thing. So I wonder if that was a reference to Kira, or if I'm just reading too much into it.
I don't know. I hadn't thought of that, but it's an interesting little connection there. I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I love that he, channels his anger and stuff into the pottery, and we get Rutherford calling him Papa Bear. Put it into the clay, Papa Bear. Put it into the clay. Aw, that was really sweet.
Mm-hmm. Oh.
And we did get, I think it was in the episode Veritas last season where Boimler said he was missing a pottery class because they
Yes.
were in that prison or something like that. So a nice little bit of continuity there.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And yes, well, that line, fighting fascism is a full-time job. I love that
Yeah,
line.
that's, that's great. Inferring that he had time to make pottery. The nerve.
Definitely. But I look forward to seeing his little kitty, or tiny puppy,
His puppy ashtray for his incense.
ashtray, right? For the incense. That's what it was. Yeah. I forgot it was for incense. I was like, ashtray, that can't be right. But yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
Incense. Yeah.
So yeah, Boimler not successful there. We also see this was my favorite bit just because I love Ta'ana so much. They're on the holodeck. Ta'ana and Tendi are climbing Mount El Capitan, it appears. They have harnesses and climbing equipment though. They're not free climbing. They're no Kirk. But they're climbing the mountain, and Boimler rocks up with the rocket boots and the go climb a rock shirt. And Star Trek V doesn't get a lot of love because probably doesn't deserve a ton of love, but I loved those references. I thought that was great.
The fact that they're combining two references into one is what got me. It's like we're getting the Kirk and a Spock reference in Boimler.
Yeah, that was brilliant. My favorite line though had to be where Boimler's boots kind of crap out and he starts falling, and Tandy says, "Good thing safety protocols are on. They are on, right?" And to honor her delivery of, "I don't know, sure." So great. I don't know, sure.
Didn't even care.
No.
Wow.
No.
Ta'ana's hardcore.
Mm-hmm. That was wonderful. So yeah, Boimler not successful there as well. What's kind of your favorite from what we've seen of these so far here?
It's still got to be him trying to get out of the holodeck. Just
That's pretty good.
pushing that button. And just the look on his face and how he keeps, looking at the button, looking back at them. It's just like, it's funny. That was my favorite part. But a very, very close second is the pottery scene.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Oh, we got it covered then, because my favorite is definitely Tana and Tendi. I just love that.
There you
But
go.
I love Tana, man. Anyway, we
Mhm.
need a
She's
short trek
great.
that just focuses on her.
Yes, let's follow her for a day.
That'd be great. But we get the Boimler kind of trying to get in good with Commander Ransom as well, and kind of falls into not denying that he's from Hawaii, and then just kind of goes with it and says, "Oh yeah, no, I'm from Hawaii," and that's an interesting story. I had flashbacks, and I don't know if it was kind of like tying to this, not really, didn't really fit, but I was remembering the TNG episode Lower Decks, where Sam Lavelle tried to cozy up to Riker by saying like, "Oh, I have an uncle from Canada," and Riker's like, "Good for you," and he's like, "You're from Canada, right?" "No, Alaska." "Oh
Alaska.
crap." I just had kind of vibes there that like they flipped that around a little bit. I thought that was funny.
Yes, I thought of that too. Not the first time I watched it, but the second time, and I thought, nah, I'm reading too much into it. But apparently not, because you got that too.
That's where my brain went, but they, of course, it's Lower Decks. You got to take it to the nth degree, though, because Boimler. We've got this assortment of officers who are all from Hawaii, apparently, but we find out by the end that none of them are from Hawaii, but they're all from moons except for Boimler, so he's left out again, of course.
And technically, they should be calling it the Hawaiian Islands
Mm-hmm.
because there are more than the island of Hawaii.
No,
So
and if they were actually from Hawaii, they'd probably
they'd
know
know
that.
that. They'd know that.
So maybe a good attention to detail from the writers there.
Yes, and I didn't even think of that until just now. Clever, clever. Fair play to you. Fair play to you, Lord X.
And I'm pretty sure, like Mike McMahon and the writers would be like, "Yeah, that's absolutely what we meant. Yeah, of course. Yeah, you caught that, did you?"
Totally did.
No. Well, let's talk about the other ships in the three ships, because we've got the Klingon ship and we have lower deckers aboard that vessel. And this was so much fun. And this is I mentioned this on the podcast as well, where this is where my only very slight criticism of modern Star Trek is going to come in here, because if we had like a 22 or 24 episode season, I have no doubt we would get an entire episode of Lower Decks set on this Klingon ship, and probably an entire episode set on the Vulcan ship. But because it's, the days of shorter seasons, 10 episodes, that comes with perks as well. But I think one of the things is like, ooh, things that we might consider filler episodes back in the day, I feel like would be a lot of fun, and we get to do all sorts of crazy things, but you can't quite in 10 episodes. So instead they get chunks of this episode, which was a heck of a lot of fun as well. So that's my tiny criticism of what you can call new Trek or modern Trek. But
Yeah.
basically my criticism is we don't get enough of it. So that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. The interesting thing, and I saw someone say this on Twitter, and I wish I could remember who it was. They were commenting on something else, but they were talking about how Lower Decks gives you everything you need and nothing that you don't.
That's
It
true.
it just trims all the fat. Everything is there for a reason. It is efficient at delivering content. And so much content is packed into every single episode because there literally is no filler. There's no time for it. There's no time
Mm-hmm.
for it. And so, I understand what you're saying. And I would absolutely welcome a full episode of the Klingon ship or the Vulcan ship. Probably not the Borg ship. That would probably be boring.
We'll get to the
But
Borg ship for sure.
definitely the pack-led ship, no. But
Oh,
but
God.
from now on, I'm just gonna go, red alarm, red alarm. Red alarm.
I was crying laughing at that. Oh my god.
I'm
I'm
hungry.
hungry. You
You
should
should
eat.
eat some.
You're
You're
smart.
smart.
Oh my god. That was so great.
Oh
Huh.
yeah.
Yeah, the Klingon ship was so much fun. And Bruce had an interesting thought, which was that there's not so much funny stuff that's happening on the Klingon ship. It's kind of presented fairly, this is how a Klingon ship would appear. I mean, there's the little jokes where they're mocking the Vulcans, avoid death and cower, which I love that line. But for the most part, it's played pretty straightforward as to how a Klingon ship would operate and how the lower deckers aboard that ship would probably go about their day and stuff. I think Brandi might be frozen. Either that or I'm frozen. I'm not sure. So I'm just going to keep talking for the moment. But we get these lower deckers, and the one guy who's kind of the focus, he's kind of the ambitious one, and he's got a shift at the helm on the bridge, and he's excited because he might get a chance to be the first officer. That was a lot of fun. I thought his character was really interesting, and you know, the good kind of honorable Klingon, right? And the rogue Klingon captain was kind of an interesting side thing as well here. Oh, okay. It looks like Brandi has, okay, thanks TJ. Brandi was the frozen one. Good. I wasn't just talking to nobody. That's excellent. Hopefully Brandi will be back in here shortly. But yeah. Oh, and I think she's here. There she
Hello.
is. Okay.
Sorry.
Excellent.
That's
No
alright.
worries, no worries. So yeah, I was just talking about the Klingon ship, and we've got our honorable junior officer who has the helm shift, and he wants to be first officer because, you know, the first officer and the captain have been sniping each other lately, so there might be an opportunity in there. And the dishonorable rogue captain, you know, kind of a typical type of character, but was a lot of fun to kind of see play out.
Yeah, well, the interesting thing is that I didn't expect that to happen, but when it did, I'm like, "Oh, yeah, okay." But the one thing that he didn't count on was, shouldn't have abused his targ.
That's it. Yeah, definitely. Uh, is that Targ not the cutest thing? Like, you know,
I want one.
the Keishon hand puppet, like that's cool and all, but like I want the Targ stuffy now, like of that
Mhm.
Targ.
Yes, that was the I wanted to rub his little face and give him kisses.
Aw. And yeah, as Patrick points out, it was an honorable movement. That was,
Passing that
yeah,
leg.
yeah, he had to pass that leg, and yeah. That was wonderful. CJ, this is terrific. Someone on Twitter said they had already made red alarm into their notification and alarm sound on the phone.
I saw
I
that
want
too.
I want to meet that person now. That's amazing. So the revelations we get from this, of course, they're advancing the Pakled story a little bit as well, because apparently the Klingons, or at least this rogue Klingon, has
This
been
ship.
working with the Pakleds and providing them with the Veruvian bomb that they were talking about. They were going to sneak onto Earth a few episodes back, and they tested it on an asteroid, but now it doesn't work anymore.
It's a bomb! You can only use it once!
Oh, like, yeah, you're backing the wrong horse here, dude. Wow, this cat, yeah,
Mhm. And
um,
all in the name of remain Klingon sort of thing, you know?
yeah, right.
And it's just like,
Ugh.
is that really the way you wanna go with that?
Hmm. I loved the subtle reference as well, where he tells his captain other Klingons in the past have attempted to disrupt peace, and look what, like, they didn't succeed.
Can't get
Nice.
him here.
Yep, nice little, General Chang and his cadre. That was a nice little reference. I liked that.
So, Star Trek 5 reference, Star Trek 6 reference.
Mm-hmm.
Very
Definitely.
nice.
Yeah. And I would say we're jumping ahead here, but in that final battle, Star Trek 2 music, big
Ah,
time,
yes.
with the
Mm-hmm.
James
Mm-hmm.
Horner-esque music there. That was beautiful.
Yes. I loved it. I loved it the first time that I heard something like that, which was in Crisis Point,
Mm-hmm.
and just, mm. I think they're very smart, and they know exactly what they're doing over there.
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't think any of this was accidental.
Yeah, and I have seen on Twitter, I haven't read a lot of reactions and that kind of thing, but
Me
what I
either.
have seen has been very positive. And I did see a tweet from Mike McMahon saying he was very excited for people to see this episode, because I feel like they in the production are very proud of this episode, and rightfully so. Like, they accomplished a great thing in this one.
They really did. They really, really did. It's just, so many things just
Mhm.
packed into 22 minutes. It's mind-blowing.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's go over to the Vulcan ship, because this was probably my favorite thing in this episode. The Vulcans, okay, just Vulcans interacting with Vulcans and being Vulcan with each other is so great, because they're not playing off of humans. There's no like crazy emotional human or anything going on. It's just Vulcans. And the only other time that I can think of that it felt like this was Carbon Creek from Enterprise,
Mhm.
when the
Agreed.
three, yeah, and I had serious like remembrances of that episode because of the interactions here, and I thought it was great. And we've got our T'Lyn, who is like the Mistral of the ship, who's just like curious and wanting to explore things, and all the other Vulcans going like, "Mm, mm, mm."
Yes, T'Lyn is everybody's new favorite. Everybody's new favorite.
Oh,
And
that's
everybody wants to
so.
see her on the Cerritos. Yes, including me. Including
Yeah,
me.
me too. Me too. Uh,
And
yeah.
I agree with Patrick also. The Vulcan ship is gorgeous. I love Vulcan ships, and I got to
Mhm,
see them a lot more often in Enterprise than I do lately. And to get a Vulcan ship and have it be so beautiful and detailed like it was just
mhm.
made me emotional.
And a new style of Vulcan ship, one we've never seen
Mhm.
before, which means the fine folks at Eagle Moss have another thing to sell me. I'm
Same.
very good with that.
Yes.
I loved this. I loved everybody did the Vulcans so well. Like, the voice acting in this was so perfect, and like I could almost hear them in the sound booth, and the director saying like, less emotion, even less, bring it down." And just so perfect. I loved it.
Yeah. I think probably one of my favorites is when she leaves meditation and the guy next to her, who was voiced by Mark Evan Jackson, who is one of my most
Mhm.
favorite people in the world, said, "She's lost all control."
Oh my god.
That is so great. So great.
And yeah, everybody accusing her of these outbursts and stuff, and
Yeah.
whenever she says something, the captain's eyebrow just like, hmm?
I call
So
it
great.
the Spock eyebrow, but,
Mhm.
all Vulcans do it, let's be honest. But, her saying how completely unconcerned she was with what other people thought of her, and they're just like, if they could have gasped, they would have.
That was brilliant.
Instead, they
Oh,
just kinda gave her side eye. That's the Vulcan gasp is side eye, I guess.
oh man, there's so many great little one-liners that I wish I'd written more of them down. But, you know, we've got Mariner and her sarcastic "live long and prosper." And up to this point, I think my favorite like delivery of "live long," maybe not favorite, but one that was most in this style, was Zachary Quinto's Spock in Star Trek 2009. "Live long and prosper," after they insult his mom, basically.
Mhm.
This one was so subtle, but at the same time, so biting. It was so good. So yeah, when she's leaving the ship, live long and prosper, sir.
And
So good.
I was like,
And his eyebrow just.
oh, oh snap! She gave it to him.
Oh man. But yeah, like you, like, so yeah, we leave this with her going to Starfleet, supposedly. Yeah, I want her on the Cerritos. I think her turn in this episode was good enough that, like, if she was suddenly a main character in Lower Decks in next week's episode or in season 3, I'd be like, yeah, I'm on board. She's terrific.
She is, and I don't know if they knew that this was going to happen. So, I think maybe they thought, "Oh, this is they might have a good reaction to this character." I don't think that they were anticipating, people like Enterprise Extra making his account this is now a T'Lyn stan account, and
That's awesome.
just posting things about T'Lyn all day long. And it's just my heart.
Oh, sorry, I love this quote here. Grace on Women at Warp once said in reference to that moment, "Live long and get bent." That's awesome.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's referring to Quinto's delivery in 09.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah. Mhm.
that's awesome. That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, passive aggressive.
Mhm.
Vulcans
Oh,
being passive
absolutely.
aggressive into a culture. Definitely. Yeah.
Agree. Absolutely.
CJ, okay, this line here, CJ, Boimler's penal colony where you have to mate with the enemy to form a new civilization was oddly specific. Was that a reference to something? Because it kind of blew by me, and I in the moment was trying to think of what it might be, but I couldn't think of anything myself. Or
Something has been tickling in my brain, but I haven't figured it out yet.
hmm.
And it's just, there's something. There's something there. Because I was thinking
Hmm.
about TOS, and I think there was that one time where he was trapped on that planet with the people that were like Native Americans or whatever, and he ended up basically marrying her, and they were going to have a baby, and she gets killed. And anyway, sorry, I don't think that
Hmm.
one was one they were referencing, but it just feels like that is definitely a reference to something, and I am too dense to get it right now.
Yeah, and I usually at least know kind of what they're referencing, but this one escapes me. Like, I don't know. Um, I don't know. Munch brings up lizard babies. I don't know if
No,
that's.
no, no, Randy McDonald. Randy McDonald. Put up Randy McDonald.
Oh my God! Birthright parts 1 and 2. Yes. Yeah, they create a new civilization. That makes sense. Yeah, yeah. They're enemies. Thank you, Randy. You are awesome.
That
The
sounds like
Romulan
the
prisoner.
the right
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
that's got to be it. That's absolutely it.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yay.
Yeah, we're going with that.
Yeah.
Now, somebody who knows Mike McMahon, would you please go ask Mike McMahon if that's what he meant?
It makes the most sense to me. Like, it ticks all the boxes. I think that's got to be it. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm. Yep.
So yeah, we also see, like you mentioned, the lower decks of the Pac-led ship. That's fun. Um,
Red alarm. I can't not do it. It's so fun to say.
it was a few episodes ago. I was kind of thinking, like, I don't know about, like, the Pac-leds. Do we really want to? There's just enough Pac-led in this episode. Like, it's just they cut it back to, like, just the right amount in this episode that I'm like, okay, that was funny. That was funny. I think if we stuck with them for a little longer, it would have been too much. Like, that was
Mhm.
perfect.
Well, they're giving us pieces of a puzzle. So
Hmm.
we don't know yet what that puzzle makes. So,
Ooh, I'm
hmm.
fascinated to see. Yeah, I can't wait. One episode left. That blows my mind.
I'm not ready for it to be done.
I know. Yeah, I feel the same way. Absolutely. Um so okay, I can't remember exactly which episode it was, but it was like a few weeks back, and I can't remember how the episode ended, but I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, you know how some shows they have like different music over the closing credits for different episodes, or like there'll be a special thing and the closing credits will be over top of some extra bit, rather than it's too bad Lower Decks always just has to do the same theme music, which is fine. I love the theme music, I love the ending, but like it would be nice sometimes. And again, I can't remember the specific situation, but I was like, oh, it'd be cool if they kept that running through the credits or something like that. And then this episode, they do it. We go to a Borg cube. We see Lower Decks on the Borg cube, 4 of them in their regeneration alcoves, totally silent, unmoving, with just like random Borg sound effects in the background. And then the credits come up over it.
And run to the end of the credits. End of the credits. That's up the whole time.
And nothing happens. Not a thing, which is how it should be. Like, nobody blinked. There wasn't like a flashing light. It was just, nope. That's it. Brilliant. Chef's kiss. That was the perfect topping to this wonderful episode.
There's a discussion that I want to comment on.
Yeah.
It's when the Pac-Led ship left. This is Patrick. As far as we know, they still had the bomb.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the way I saw it too, because the Klingon captain said to beam over another Veruvian bomb.
Yeah.
And I'm assuming that they did that immediately. So yeah, they have another bomb.
Yeah, that's what I think. So the Klingon said belay that order, but that was the order to fire on the Cerritos.
Yeah.
They said fire on the
order.
Federation ship, and that's when he said belay that order.
Belay that order.
What? Yeah.
Yep.
That
no, he didn't say, he didn't stop him from beaming that bomb over.
Interesting.
That much I know.
So, I mean, we've had a Veruvian bomb mentioned throughout this season, like as a thing. So I'm assuming that's going to come into play in the season finale, and I'm really looking forward to that. Wellington Smith, thank you so much. Commander Ransom is awesome. That end scene where he boosts Boimler in the bar with the cadet made me awe. Yeah, let's talk about that scene, because that was wonderful. That's twice in this season now that Ransom has given a bit of acknowledgement or given a little bit of kudos to Boimler, which is so wonderful to see. So, even though Boimler kind of embarrassed himself a little bit there with him today, that professionally he's still highly regarded by Commander Ransom. And what does he say? He's one of our most efficient officers or something like that? Or organized. Maybe? Organized. Okay, yeah.
The most organized officer. Yeah. It was. And I think the thing about Boimler, what's the thing about Boimler? I really love Boimler, you guys. I love them all. But Boimler is so dear to my heart because I feel so much of his pain and have felt so much of his pain in my own life. So I get him on a deep level. But I like how he's learning how to deal with these things. That yeah, he's embarrassed, and yeah, he's a little bummed out, but at the same time he's just like, well, that's life. He's not going to throw himself in his bunk and cry over it. He's not going to whine. He's just dealing with it. Just dealing with it. And I was really proud of him.
Yeah, definitely. So this this young, I want to say acting ensign, maybe, because he seems to be wearing something similar to what Wesley wore in the first in season 2 and 3, I guess.
I did notice that.
Yeah, I'm guessing like an acting ensign. There's a few of them there. That was so, this poor kid, and he's gonna look up to Boimler, and Boimler's got this little. I kind of hope we see him again. I think that was kind of neat. That was really cool. I love that Boimler's going to be a little bit of a mentor now, and yeah, I love when good things get recognized, and the fact that Boimler's hard work. I mean, like, for crying out loud, last week he saved the ship basically from the Pendronian drill instructor person. So it's pretty awesome.
He did. Yeah. And I like the way that he talked to this supposed acting ensign as well. He wasn't condescending. He wasn't, I'm better than you. He was friendly. He wanted to help. And so he's like, okay, now people are going to tell you that the bridge crew are the most important people on the ship, but they can't get anything done without people like us, and that's the truth. That is the
Mm-hmm.
truth. And it's helping this new person have perspective on his role in this ship. And also he's like, okay, now let's talk duty schedules. And it's just so great. It seems like something so small, but it's so great because I'm just like, that's my Boimler. That's my boy. He's all grown.
Yeah, that was really sweet. And actually, Mossy makes a good point here too. It was a move by Ransom to boost Boimler's confidence too. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Ransom. Where did I see it? Shoot, somebody commented somewhere online. One of the few things I saw, and it was like they were wondering if Ransom sees himself in Boimler a lot, and was because we do get that bit where he says, oh, I just said I was from Hawaii to impress a senior officer. And like, I wonder if Boimler's on the like exact trajectory that Ransom was on as a young officer. And I think that's pretty cool. I like that.
Yeah, I agree. I like that as well. And at first I didn't think much of Ransom because we saw all the surface stuff. And yeah, he can be insufferable sometimes, but he's he's become a lot more intriguing to me in this season, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just my personal feeling. And I just like that we've had a little more time with him because we got a lot of the other bridge officers last season, and we just didn't get as much really with him. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad that we're getting more of the real Ransom and not the bravado he sometimes puts on.
Mm-hmm. The bro Vado.
The bravado, yeah, ooh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
A
ooh,
little bit. Yeah.
a little bit.
Uh, but yeah, we find out he's from the moon. That's kind of cool.
That is kind
but
of cool.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, he said it like it was a bad thing.
No, that's pretty cool. Who's from the
Where the
moon?
rest
I
of
love
us,
that.
yeah, the rest of us are like, he lived on the moon. There are people born on the moon. We haven't even got a colony there yet. So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's I thought it was impressive.
No. Also, yeah, me too. I've wondered that from the very beginning. I know it's just a last name, but I'm like, is he Captain Ransom's son or something? I kept waiting for
Hmm,
that, but I haven't heard anything yet. Maybe
could
unrelated,
be.
but
Maybe unrelated, but I don't know if they do things like that to be unrelated.
hmm,
You
yeah.
know, if it were real life we were talking about, then yeah, it could be a coincidence. But considering that every move they make in this series is absolutely meaningful, it's
Hmm.
probably not random.
Definitely. Well, is there anything we haven't talked about? I know there is because there's so much in this episode. Um, I did love Boimler talking to Kayshawn and
Oh,
accidentally
yes.
calling him fat. That was great.
Yep. It is really hard to lose weight when you can replicate any food you want.
Right? This is yeah. I'm always like, oh, I'd love a replicator, and then I'd be like, oh, that's dangerous.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, never have to leave the house for food again. That's an introvert's dream.
Oh yeah, no. The return of the pinkish Klingon blood, that was fun. That was pretty good.
Reddish pink blood.
Oh yeah, what's the line? The Empire still strikes terror. Klingon blood runs as reddish pink as ever.
Oh, when he's dragging out the dead body of the officer from the bridge.
That was good.
It was just the right length of uncomfortable, but not too long.
Hmm. Hmm. That was wonderful. Yeah. Anything that we haven't brought up that you'd like to discuss? Final thoughts and maybe a rating for the name of this episode that I'm not gonna butcher every time.
Right. So, yeah, everybody get your ratings ready. Excuse me, clearing my throat. Because I'm about to say something important. No, I'm not. This episode was so amazing. And it was no less amazing the second time that I watched it. It is something that is going to be in heavy rotation for me for a while, especially when that Blu-ray comes out, because I have to have them all on Blu-ray.
Mhm.
And I loved this so much that I will give it shady chefs. Why do they have chefs? That's shady. We have replicators. Why is there a chef? Oh, anyway,
Oh wow!
this is, oh, you stole my thing, TJ. Gosh damn it. Now I have to think of the
That'd be like
new one.
166.67%.
Okay. So I'm going to say, let's see, because okay, I'm gonna say 10 out of 5 ships, because there actually were 5 with the backlist of the board.
That's true. That's true.
So I can't love this enough. I love this episode so much, and I will watch it over and over again because I love it so much. Because it's wonderful in so many ways. And it did something that has sort of been done before, but not to this degree,
Mhm.
where we just not only see these the lower decks of Cerritos, we see other cultures and how their lower decks work. And I thought that was a really cool thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Uh, I honestly think, this I think might be my favorite episode of Lower Decks ever at this point now. I did love it so much. I loved the expansion of the universe a little bit, in that like we got outside of the norm of the story. If season 1 was like setting up the premise of the show, season 2 has really allowed them to take that premise and play with it, and do some really interesting things with it and really open up that world. And uh, I think more than anything else, what this episode represents to me is the promise of more awesomeness to come, because like we're still this is only the 19th episode of this show, like we're still early days. I feel like I want this show to go on for years and years and years. And if the writers are half as clever in future years as they are with this, it's going to be still a great show. So yeah, I'm just going to heap effusive praise on it and say 5 out of 5. I'm going to use a different thing than I used before. 5 out of 5 games of velocity. Oh, that's lame, but that's what I went with, I guess. Yeah.
It's not
But yeah, I'm seeing mostly really great ratings from everyone. Looks like everybody else enjoyed this episode a lot too, so that's awesome. I'm excited and sad that there's only one episode left in this season, next week, and also that we're gonna have to change things up a little bit right here at the finish line for Lower Decks. I unfortunately have just gotten a part-time gig that's going to require me to work in the evenings. So I kind of talked with Brandi briefly before we started tonight, and I was thinking maybe around noon, midday on Saturday next week, maybe for and for these shows going forward as well, if this continues. So I don't know. Hopefully everyone's kind of on board with that. And when I say noon, that would be like mountain time. So uh,
Yes, the forgotten time zone.
yeah. So it'd be about, I guess, 2 p.m. Eastern
Mhm.
and 11 a.m. Pacific, I think,
Yep.
if I'm doing that right in my head.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have an exact time, but it will be next Saturday during the day, not in the evening. So hopefully all of you can join us for that, and it might even be a better time. I know it's maybe a better time zone for other people outside of North America as well. That might work a little better too. So we'll see. We'll see how we do. I feel like, we're coming in. It's like the original series and the final season and the third season moved to like Fridays, except we're moving away from Fridays this time. So I don't know. There's some sort of symmetry there. I don't know. Never.
No, I absolutely agree with what you're saying.
Just smile and
Yeah.
nod, smile and nod.
Just
Excellent.
yeah.
Well, yeah. Thank you all so much for watching and joining us this week. This has been so much fun. I can't say more about how much I love this episode. Brandi, where can people find you when you're not here with me?
Places. Forgive me, guys. My brain has just not worked correctly all week, and I say completely wrong words what I mean to say in other words. So I'm just gonna say, follow me on Twitter, Brandywine12. Brandy's with an I, 12's the number, and you will find out what I'm doing, because right now I can't think of it all, and I don't have it written down anymore. So we'll just go with that. And just know I'm doing things, and you will find out about those things because I'll post about those things on my Twitter. So do that. So
Awesome.
Dan, what about you? Tell us all the places.
Twitter at Kertrats, Kertrats. Best place to kind of get my attention and talk with me. And also, of course, this channel. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm still working on deep dive episodes. I've been slow at it, but I'm working on them. I've got my notebook here. I'm making notes on episodes and yeah, so I'm working on them. And the Positively Trek podcast, which I do with Bruce. We're going to be making a couple changes with the podcast. Nothing I'm going to like announce here right now, but as we get into Prodigy and Discovery, we're going to change up the format a little bit. Kind of just to make life a little easier for Bruce and I, so that there's not a week where we're doing 4 episodes a week, because we kind of sat down and we kind of talked. That's a lot of work. That's a lot of editing. And that's a lot of podcasts to show up in your podcast feed that, like really all these episodes. So we're going to change things up a little bit and combine some things and that kind of thing. But we'll make an official announcement when we're ready to, probably that week between Lower Decks and Prodigy. We'll announce on the flagship show exactly what that's going to look like. So yeah, don't worry. We're not going anywhere. We're just rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's not a good metaphor. We're not sinking.
No. No.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. It's all good.
Just change that to rearranging the furniture in the living room.
Or rearranging the deck chairs on the Star Trek cruise. There we go.
There you go. There
We're
it
not
is.
going on the Star Trek cruise, though, unfortunately. That's for rich people.
Yeah, I know the feeling.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. We'll catch you next week at our new time, whatever exactly that will be. And until then, live long and prosper. And red alarm.
Red alarm. And